I got better at business. I know the cycles, I started learning the business cycles and things that you have to do concerning business. Especially now I have 2 businesses. Welcome to another amazing edition of the Journey to Freedom podcast. I'm Dr. B. I'm your host. Yes, it's going to be a great day today. I'm excited to talk to Mr. Stacey Harper today because when we think about, and you guys know if you've been watching a lot of these episodes, I usually try to talk to people we call the green room right before and just find out what in life they're excited about. And so you can kind of judge how well a show's going to go based on that interaction right before the show. Because, there's sometimes I'll ask a person, I'll say, what are you most excited about? And their eyes go up, where they're looking right. And they're trying to think of something in their life that they're excited about. That tells me that we might have a long show that they're not excited about. Something happening in their life right now that we might be going for a while. But then you have the guests who just, their eyes light up, they get big, they say, I can't wait to help the community, I can't wait to be in purpose, I can't wait to, I just wrote a book, I want to tell everybody about my book, and you just know that we're probably going to run out of time, and I have to say, Stacey, we just have to bring into another episode because we just had so much fun in our episode. And that's what Journey to Freedom is all about. And I don't know, but this, Stacey, it's been about 1.5 years now that I started the Journey to Freedom podcast. I went to a seminar on trust leadership and how to lead with trust and how important trust is. And we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust our community. We don't trust our women. We don't even trust white folks. I mean, it's just, we on our community have this issue of trust. And I go to the seminar and there's about 500 people there and there's only 30 folks of color there. Now, I continue to say all the time that, I told myself all the time that it isn't important that I see other people that look like me doing things in life, that I can say, hey, if it's close to what I'm doing, at least I know it can be done. I say, oh, I don't need that. I got this. But then I realized that every time I go to a room that's full of diverse room, I'm always counting. I'm counting how many of us are there. And then I go talk to other folks that look like us. And I say, so what are you doing? What brings you to this room? And so for me to say I don't care is just a lie, because I do care. And I love to see people who are doing things. And so I come back from the seminar because, there's only 30 or 40 people in this room with 500. And I start talking and praying. And God says, well, I'm telling God that I want to work with people of color. I want to make sure that I can make an impact and a difference. God comes back to me and tells me, no, I need you to work with Black men. I say, God, I don't really want to work with just Black men because Black men can be difficult at sometimes. Or Black men can have this issue with fear and all these other things. I said, no, that's what I want you to do. And so I created a coaching program around not being stuck and being able to move forward. And then I started this podcast and I said, okay, in 2024, I'm going to interview at least 100 successful Black men so I can see, and because it's one thing for me to view and have my own opinion. It's another thing to start interviewing people and see what the common themes are. So we ended up doing 105 last year. I mean, I think you're like 100 episode 160 or something like that. This, as we're getting through this, I may go to 1,000. I don't know, because I am enjoying this so much, hearing lives of people who are literally making an impact. And when I think about success, and this is for you, you're watching too. Success to me is not the amount of money you make. It's not the fame that you have. Success is if we're able to live in our purpose and we're able to do what God put us on this planet to do in a way that pleases him and serves others, we are successful. And that's what I'm finding is the folks that I'm interviewing, I can't wait to have this conversation with you, but I'm just realizing that there are so many people that I didn't know about. There are people who grew up in single parent homes. A lot of us did. And there's a whole bunch of folks that didn't. And then there's folks that went to college. And then there's a lot of us that didn't. There's folks that have figured out how to get their marriage right. And then there's a lot of us who didn't. But the common theme is they're all working on helping and serving others, which is
Yes.
exactly what you told me you're doing. And so I've asked Stacey, like I do all of our guests, to tell their story, to tell us, the things that are not what he does, but who he is. And we find that out when they get to tell their story. And I told him, I know you're going to be good at this because you just wrote a book about it. So if you don't know it after you wrote a book, then we're really in trouble here. So Stacey, thank you for being on. Thank you for spending time with us. I love your background and the folks that are there. And so I can't wait to have this conversation with you. So the floor is yours, and we'll just chop it up right after that.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for starting this podcast. I like the name and everything, the journey to freedom, because at one point in my life, I had a journey to freedom.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, my whole life has been the journey to freedom.
Oh, good.
And what freedom means to me is that when your values align with who you are and your purpose, then you're free. It's not about money. At first, I thought freedom was having money, cars, the women, and all of that. And I found out that's not freedom. That's a trap. Anyway, my story starts off is we were Nation of Islam Muslims.
Okay.
I went to Muslim school, and I was trained. We march every day. It was fun. I loved it. We march, drill, and when you make a mistake, you got to go to class. So we was trying to stay down there as long as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
And what I found out is later on is that training from that school, the do for self, the don't depend on anybody, make a way for yourself. I worked at Good Foods. I worked at your supermarket, your bakery. I was trained that we do everything for self. And, that's my foundation. So later on in life, going to school, our family traveled a lot. My pops was a salesman. He sold slum jewelry. It looked real, but it wasn't. But that's what he did. And we traveled. We lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Dayton, Ohio first, and Albuquerque, New Mexico. But what I found out when I lived in Dayton, Ohio was very interesting. I'm from South Central, and the gang banging, it's black on black crime. But when I went out there, and it was the early 70s, it was more, they had two gangs, the chain of Rap Brown and the chain of George Wallace, black against white. Yeah, it was very interesting. People from the East Coast, I found, even today, are more, they know their history more than, people from the West Coast.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, we moved around. I went to different schools. And that's another interesting point is when I went to public school, it was a total shock from going from a pro-black school to a pro-white school. Right. So I go to this school and all they talk about, when they mention black people, it's about slavery or, something bad, Martin Luther King, it was nothing positive. And I found that I really didn't want to learn. It was like a deterrent, even though math and science and all that stuff was different. But just the whole curriculum to me, it wasn't meant for people of color.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't motivating. It was nothing to motivate you to learn, to know who you are. And so that was a shocker to me. And so we end up moving to Albuquerque, New Mexico. My father fell in love with the Islamic community there. And
so
then
you went from Los Angeles, then LA, to Albuquerque?
No, we went from Los Angeles to Ohio.
Oh, to Ohio. Okay.
Yeah, and then to Albuquerque,
New Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah, then to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Yeah, it was crazy.
No,
anyway, now
Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is
I hated it there too. I would tell you, I hated Albuquerque, New Mexico. Oh we first moved there. We was living on a farm with some people, man. I mean, we playing with the chickens. The next thing you know, we eating it at night.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I mean, because I drive through. I'm in Denver, Colorado, and that's where I grew up. And
okay.
several times, where I do the southern route to get to. I went to college in Zeus Pacific University in Southern California, and then I have lots of friends in Phoenix. And then my mom is part Native American, and so we were part of the Choctaw tribe in Oklahoma. But when I go through New Mexico, it's there's so many tribes, and working, whether I worked at a Navajo reservation or whatever the local tribe was, but just to see it's a different life. And especially, I'm thinking, you're saying your father fell in love with the Islamic community in Albuquerque. I'm surprised there even is an Islamic community.
Yeah. Oh, let me tell you a story about that. So
okay.
while we're in Albuquerque, they sell Muhammad Speaks. That's how people earn money and fish. That's how the community earn money. Okay. So we go to Los. My father knows everybody. He knows everybody and all the mosques everywhere. He was big in the LA mosque. Anyway, we go to the LA mosque and get all they old Muhammad Speaks. I'm talking about old. Oh, wow. No current issues, old. We bring them back to Albuquerque in the U-Haul, and now we're going to sell these papers. Now, the paper costs 25 cents. They want us to give them 20 cents a paper. We make a nickel. But that, that's crazy. But anyway, there are no black people to sell to. It's some black people out there, but it's not that many. So we go to the mall.
6 of them.
Okay, in the middle of the paper is the progress section. The paper is in black and white. But the middle section is the progress section that's featuring a hospital that the Muslim community is trying to build. It's full color renditions and everything. I take that out. Now I'm a little kid with a bow tie on, white shirt and a suit at the white mall. And I take this out and I just start saying, hey, we're just trying to build this hospital. And the people would, oh yeah, they go in their pocket, they go get some change. I say, hey, every dollar saves a life. And they would switch to their wallet. I'm getting $1, $5 a paper. I was cleaning up. My brother got on board and the brothers got jealous. They just wanted to charge us more. It was crazy.
Anyway, they wanted more for the paper because you were making more money on the paper.
Yeah.
So they wanted their cut.
Hey, we was traveling all over New Mexico, going to malls all over in Gallup and everywhere. I know all the little cities because we would hit them. And like I said, we selling to white people. Now, one person I sold the whole paper to. This white guy came back and he was like, do you believe this? Do you believe that the white man is the devil? And I was like, yeah. But you know what? After he left, that stayed with me forever. Yeah. That conversation that we had. And I always would go back to it. Like, do I really believe that? And because I met some good white people, and over my lifespan, so that always bothered me. So anyway, we come back to LA after we leave there. I get a job at Church's Chicken. I'm like 15 or 16. I had to put my age up, just to get the job.
LA or one of the
by then we was living on 35th Street in Western. That's where I come from. That's called Harlem for gangbangers. This is 30s, so. Yeah, okay. That's funny. Okay, and I worked there. And, I ended up working all my way up to assistant manager. I'm a young kid. I ain't even 18 yet. And one day we got robbed. And I knew the dude. I mean, I didn't know him, but the guys, they come there to buy chicken.
Like you see them all the time, and all of a sudden they throw a little ski mask on or something.
Yeah.
Like, I know.
Yeah.
You walk the same, you look the same, you're wearing the same clothes, you just buy chicken an hour.
Man, come on. So anyway, they robbed me. They robbed the store. We waiting on the police to come. And one of the employees like, hey, Stacey, did you check the black boxes? It's black boxes under each register that you put the 20s in. I was like, oh, yeah, he got all of that. Right. But I hadn't checked them. And I told the employees, I tricked them all into the back. You know, they don't never want to work. You got something funny or something going on. They can't wait to go check it out. So I got everybody out the front, went up there. Man, them cash drawers was packed. With cash, right? From even the day before. So I
they hadn't
grabbed all
even
that
been emptied
cash.
out. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I grabbed all that cash, and the police came, the big wigs came, and they were like, they sent me home because I was traumatized. And I ended up going to court. They caught the guys. They was robbing Taco Bells, everything. Yeah, of course
Oh
I
my
knew it
gosh.
was him, but they was like, "You see that guy?" I was like, "Nope." Because the code in the hood is we don't do that.
No, you don't. Yeah, no, because then that's
Yeah,
your life that
yeah,
you're
yeah,
having to mess. Okay,
exactly. So
so
anyway, I worked. I was there. So they, I wasn't working. They had suspended me because I guess it was too much
allowed.
cash came up. Yeah, from the job, from Church's Chicken. I guess too much cash came up missing.
Okay,
And I started working for Miller's Carpet Care.
okay,
You got to use your own car. You buy your chemicals from them and everything. And I was working. It was a nice little job. I liked it
okay.
because that gave me freedom. I was out. I wasn't like behind desk or anything. So and I was doing this Jewish guy's house, and he was like, he was asking me questions about the job, and I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, I buy my own equipment. I get the equipment from them, but I buy the chemicals, use my own car. He was like, you should be doing this yourself. And wow, light bulb went on in my head.
Okay.
And right after that, I started planning and opened up my own carpet cleaning business. You know,
Nice,
yeah, and
nice.
I was a young man. Living in the 30s, I'm 16, 17, so about 17 by then, opened up my carpet cleaning business. Pops was in jail. He was going to talk about he going to get out and help, because I was doing well. Because look, what I did was, so Miller's would advertise in the Los Angeles Times and the Herald and all of that,
Mhm.
like 2 rooms for $15, steam clean. So what I did, I went to the local throwaway paper, The Wave, put an
Mhm.
ad, 2 rooms, steam clean, $14.95, 3 rooms, $21.95. My home number, my mom is answering the phone. She called me, because there wasn't no cell phones.
Oh yeah,
I don't
no,
even think
no.
it was beepers then. So
Wow.
I get home, mom's like, the phone is ringing off the hook. I already had appointments. I had to get a schedule book. I ended up hiring my brother, my homie who went to school with me. Because you go out for the $14.95, but you upsell,
You
because you
upsell,
need
yeah, of
free
course. The
treatment,
ballroom, the living room,
Scotch
all that good
guard,
stuff.
your sofa clean. I was doing really well. I moved us out of that house into another house on 35th.
Really? Mom
Yeah,
was
I was
happy
taking,
then. She was scheduling for you all day long.
yeah, scheduled for me all day long. Yeah. So we was doing well with the carpet cleaner and the family working. Now, at the same time, when I opened, I think it was around when I first started, it was like October.
Uh-huh.
So it was the Christmas season. I wasn't seasoned on business. I didn't know the cycles yet.
Of course.
I thought it was going to be like that forever. Then the slow period came. It took me a couple of years to find out,
Yeah, the
the
cycle.
periods when you make money and when it's slow in that type of business. Every business has it, you
Yeah.
know. But I was young and didn't know, so went through some financial stuff. And I'm in the neighborhood. One of the neighborhood guys always come over, and he would take us skating, take us to the mall, buy clothes. He was really a cool guy. And I'm a loner. Like, I don't really like to, especially in LA. If you ride with 4 or 5 black people in the car, all of y'all might go to jail. Somebody might get killed. So I always by myself. I don't want to ride with everybody. He had a nice Cadillac coupe. He come over, everybody want to jump in the car. I was like, no, I'm cool.
Mhm.
So one day he came over. He's like, hey, Stace, come ride with me, because I smoke weed. I like, I keep my personal. He was like, come on, because he wanted to smoke. So we take a ride, and he making these runs, making this money, and I'm watching it, and it sparked me. and I end up getting involved in the game. Now, one thing I want everybody to know is that when I started, there was no cocaine epidemic. If you heard of a cocaine party, you wish you was there back then, because it was at the Playboy Mansion. It was at Eddie Murphy's house. It was at somebody affluent who was giving this party, and you would hear tales of they was using and stuff. And people was like, man, I wish I was there. That's the era that it was.
Okay.
So when I started, I was delivering because my man was delivering. So, I was delivering. I had the van, like my work van was like a conversion van.
Okay.
I work in the day, and at night I take the equipment out. I had a couch, TV, it was all hooked up.
Yeah.
And my man was like freaky, so he would switch cars with me. I make deliveries in his Cadillac. He in the van with some chick. And I'm making runs. And over time, I'm bringing him, he kicking it with the chicks, and I'm bringing him, making deliveries to him.
No.
Yeah, man. So that's what happened. He started using, and, I'm serious. Just like in Scarface, I took over, his business because he got smoked out. He's a good brother now. Real good heart. Took over his girlfriends became mine and his customers.
Wow.
Is that wild?
You're actually really good at this. You're not only an entrepreneur who makes money by day in carpet cleaning, but now you're making illegal money later, but you're really good at it.
Yes. And I was living a double life like that because I was using that money to make my business really look good and blow it up. And it started to be profitable because I got better at business. I know the cycles, I started learning the business cycles and things that you have to do concerning business. Especially now I have two businesses, At night I'm running, because it was delivery. It wasn't like what it turned out to be on the corner, a house to go to. No, in the beginning, it was pure. Somebody paid you, you call them, you go make a delivery. And back then I was really into technology.
Okay.
If the technology was out there, I wanted it. I had a phone called a Mark 900. It was a briefcase phone. It was analog. Then the GL 2020s came out. I had them in my car.
Names. You remember the names. This is crazy. I love it. That
I'm from that era.
That big gray one with the black antenna that stuck out. That was my first one.
That was a brick phone.
Yeah.
I had one of them too, as they got progressively better, Yeah.
You're probably about 10 years older than me. 5 years older than me. So we're oh my gosh. Oh, I remember phones. Yes. I don't remember. I can't remember the model numbers, but way before the internet. There was no internet till 2000. So.
Oh, no internet. Like I said, it was pages. People was using pay phones.
Yeah.
That's why. Then they were dangerous.
What they look like now. That's all we have.
I don't even get. There are no pay phones no more.
Dimes in there, hoping you. But if those penny loafer shoes, where you have to put the dimes in them, so you have money for the phone to call your mom if you need to. Oh my God!
Right. You always had. You're right about that. You're right. That's crazy. Ooh. So anyway, so I was doing that, and then I watched the rock houses come, but I never went in that direction. Okay, but what I did, I started
getting out of it.
Oh, I was always trying to get out.
Okay.
Because I was taking the money, building my business, right? Okay. I even bought a Janet King service. Janet King service, because I was trying to, but that was a scam. Janet King was a total scam.
Really?
Yeah, because, so this is how it works. When you go and buy a Janet King franchise, you tell them how much monthly you want to make. And I think I told them something like $2,000. That was a lot back then to be making $2,000 a month in anything. And I told them $2,000 a month, and they get you the contract you pay. And I think it was like maybe $20,000 for that. And I think you pay half and then monthly. So they give me the nice contract. I had contracts all by LAX, office buildings, hired some Hispanic people. And was working it. And then complaints start coming in from Janet King saying that, we wasn't performing. I went out myself with them at night, cleaning, making sure everything was, and they still was complaining. I said, oh, this is a scam. So I'm losing contracts. What they do is they complain, but they give the contract to another person who spent money.
Oh gosh. So okay.
They keep one set of contracts and they constantly get new people. They just looping it around. Yeah. So that was a scam. So anyway, so now I wasn't able to buy a key because keys back then was like $20,000-$30,000, right? But I had enough connections that I was getting it ounces at key prices. Okay. Right. So I'm serving people. I'm serving other dealers because I'm getting it like that. Anyway, I'm not getting any customers, right? All I got is my little, which I had delegated that to somebody else, the small packages, and I was just dealing like ounces to guys that were serving. And one guy in the jungle in particular was like, man, I'm getting it for like $200 less than what I was serving him. And he said he was getting it more and it was already cooked. I said, you ain't getting 28 grams because you cook it, you lose, a gram or two or whatever. He's like, no, man, sometimes it's 30, 35. I'm like, what? So I put my ear to the street and found out that it's something out there called blow up. It's blowing up, cutting the uncuttable. It's a secret formula. And I was like, I gotta have it. So I'm calling all the women I know because they the connection. I got mad respect for women. I give them so much props in my book because they were the catalyst to my growth. Anyway, I one of the girlfriends that I had, she had a new boyfriend, but we were still cool. He had just got out of prison. He was like a jewelry store jacker and he had put some work in for the Colombians. So she said, yeah, I think he know it. I was like, hook me up. I need to meet this dude. So he comes to my office. Now, my office is in the Ray Clark building. You know who Ray Clark is? Yeah, so I'm in the Ray Clark building. That's where my office was, in the Crenshaw Shopping Center. Okay. And here come this guy in the big Chevy Blazer with the top off, music blasting, no shirt on, with chains on, with the ponytail. He had that silky hair. Yeah. And he pull up, and this dude was cool, man. He tell me he know the formula, but he's never tried it. He just watched it. But I'm willing to take a chance because I'm failing, of a business. So I was like, man, let's do it. So it's Procaine. We had to go to the jewelry store in Inglewood and buy these little bitty things of it. And you cook that. So we met, we cooked that, let it dry.
Breaking Bad episode right now. Power episode.
Yeah. So anyway, we did it. Okay. It didn't come out 100%. I had like 9 ounces that I had took over there. That was my sack at that time. Took them 9 ounces and made them 18.
So you doubled it.
Yes. Okay. Went to my man in the jungle and gave him super good prices, and it was on. Right? Now, just think of this. I'm making 1 key 2. I got that capacity. I shook up the whole market in LA, me and this guy. But the East Side was already doing it, but the East Side was the East Side, the West Side. You know how that is. It's like a total 2 different worlds.
You're not crossing the boundaries. Oh, wow.
No, right. So I started cooking for dealers. Whoa. Yeah, like I said, I was just a small guy. This is how I blew up. That's why I call the book The Cocaine Chef, The Story of the Mix Master, because this is what blew me up, was the mix, the formula, the recipe. So now I'm cooking for dealers, big guys. I won't mention nobody's name, but they would bring me 10 to make 20. I would charge them $2,500 a piece. They can't see the show. I'll get to you when I'm finished. You bring me to 10. In a few days, I'll bring you 20. And I had safes, grandma's house, safe at my house, 2 or 3 safe spots. I ran it like a business. And like I told you, I'm suit and tie every day. Even though I might have been driving a Benz or whatever, you didn't know what I was doing. Me and my whole crew, because we from the Muslim school, we wear suit and ties every day. You understand? That's how we carry short haircuts, no jewelry, no Jerry curl. We didn't do nothing. We were opposite of the stereotype. If you worked for me, you couldn't have any, you got to have driver's license, insurance, all of the things. Back then, people was driving, they didn't even have none of that stuff when they was driving, But I worked within the law. I knew I was breaking the law, so I'm going to do everything I can within the law to stay clean.
Gotcha.
Right? So anyway, after a while, I blew up. I was doing really good. Man, all of a sudden, just like it started, it ended. Like the mix was over. I was stuck with like 20, 30 keys of it because the Jamaicans came in, they started serving that real and people didn't want, and other people started finding out about the recipe and they messed the game up. They taking one and making 4 or 5. So
so they thinking your stuff is really bad.
Yes.
Because they think it's being cut 4 times. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, but the thing about it was I had so much capital from doing that I just switched my game from hard to soft.
Okay.
So I just buy 10 keys and sell those after that. But what happened, so I'm rolling, doing good. And I'm always trying to get out, like I said, every time, but some catastrophe happens that wheel me back in. And then when I finally had enough money to really quit, I was hooked. I was an addict. I was addicted to the power. Everything that it brought with it, because I go to the club, man, I'm the man. You know what I mean? I go anywhere I go, I was the man. It was a great feeling. And that's why I understand athletes, how they don't want to leave. It's the same thing. It's that glamour and that whole thing. Yeah. And I was stuck. So anyway, I opened up an interior design. I met this girl. Oh my God. She just blew me, turned my life around, right? She had a 190. She was going to school for interior decorating. And she was with a baller. Because when I met her at the car wash, she was like, I'm going to Hawaii with my boyfriend. I was like, I clean carpet. I got a carpet cleaning bill, gave her my car. She said, oh, you can clean my carpets, And she never, I'm going to Hawaii with my boyfriend. Anyway, I never talked to her though. 6 or 7 months later, I'm at the Beverly Center with my boy and we bump into her. And we make a date to go to the movies that night. And man, we was together for like a year after that. It was crazy. I had just bought a house in Woodland Hills and she helped me decorate it. She gave me a lot of game. She showed me so much about interior design that I became an interior decorator. I opened up a store called Art Design and Blinds. It's still there on Parthenia and Reseda right now, the sign. The signs and neon lights that I put up, they are still there. Wow. Yeah, I opened up that store and it was doing well. Anyway, a white guy in a Testarossa rolled up one day. He was like, man, I want you to do my condo. I was like, okay. So I decorated his condo. I mean, I made gray and white, faded. His walls were gray, faded into different shades of gray. And you couldn't tell how it was done or where the mix point was. I had my uncle do it. He was a great painter. I did his condo. I mean, I made it Miami Vice. He paid cash. He paid cash too. Like I said, now nobody that I deal with in business know what I do. Mm-hmm. So it got dry. I couldn't find any work, right? So I called him, told him. He was like, yeah, I got somebody. And man, they was giving me keys for $12,000. So the first time I think I bought 10 or 15. About 10 or 15, I was like, oh my God. Sold them. I was like, I'm about to retire because this love I'm getting, right? So I think I would order 20 or 30, grabbed all my money, grabbed other people's money, went to buy this big load. I think it was like 300,000 or something.
Mhm.
And they ran off with the money, man.
And then give you
And
their
this,
product.
yeah, this some other people's monies is in there.
Uh-oh.
No product. So after that, I'm looking for the guy,
Mhm.
you know, the guy that hooked me up with him. I broke in his house looking for my money. You know what I mean? Me and my brother. So me and my brother rolling around, and we see the Testarossa roll up into the Marriott in Woodland Hills. It's Sunday. They going to brunch. These white guys work for Gold. I mean, go to Gold's Gym. They Gold Gym, you know,
Big
buff guy. Yeah. The guy I messed with was a short guy, but his buddy this day that he was with was a taller guy. So they pull up in the valet at the Marriott. Me and my brother pull in, jump out. We both got play guns.
Yeah.
And we go up to him. I'm talking to him. I'm saying, hey, man, your boy ran off with my stuff. You know, woo, woo, woo. I'm talking to him. He acting nonchalant. And I told him I broke in his house. I said, man, I broke in your house. You know, and he started pointing at me like, you broke in my effing house. You know, pointing at me. My brother just drawled down, you know, come on, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I had to, you know, make the other guy stop. We put him in the van and take off. We jump on the freeway, somebody following me. So I go in the last lane and they jump in the last lane. Then I just jump off the freeway.
Mm-hmm.
I head down to Panga Canyon toward PCH because I'm finna take this guy to the east side where it's some guys that were dangerous that I had their money, that my brother had got money from. And I'm about to take him over there.
To say, hey, this is one who took your money.
Yeah, because you know, when stuff like that happen, they think you did it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody, you beat me, man. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm about to take him over there, but in route, you know, I'm all in his wallet. You know, I'm talking to him, and I was like, I can't take him over there. You know, so we're gonna have a murder case. And my whole goal was to be in the game without having any bodies. You know what I mean? So I was like, no, I can't take him. So we took him back to the valley and dropped him off.
Wow.
And just dropped him off.
There you go, huh?
Yeah. So now I'm in, you know, recovery mode. Mm-hmm. I got to explain to these people, you know, I lost the most.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, I don't even know how I'm gonna come back from this, you know, because I got bills, man. You know, I got house, 2-3 businesses, you know, all kind of stuff going. But luckily, you know, I had a bank account, 2 or 3 business bank accounts with about 10,000 spread out. And back then that's a lot, but it wasn't enough for what I was doing, you know. So one guy who had gave me like 80,000 was a friend of mine. He was like, man, he came over and just checked me. Like, man, what you doing? What you doing? Moping around, you know, just, you know, got on my case, man. You're like, I'm out of here, man. Forget that. That's Gibbles and Bits. And he's like, I'm going to Oklahoma City. And I was like, man, so he motivated me. So I got back, you know, got my confidence back and started, you know, trying to make some moves. And I was down to like a half a chicken, a half a key. That's all I had to my name, right? And these businesses that I'm shutting down now because I know I'm not going to be able to keep them running. Mm-hmm. So I'm shutting them down. Now I had a boy that was part of our crew who was going to Texas. I'm serving, you know, on consignment. He going to Texas. Come back. I'm not making no real profit like what he making, but I'm like, man, get me out there. I'm the man. Take me out there. You gonna still get yours, but I'm gonna blow us up out there. He's like, yeah. But he ain't never doing it. So one day, like I used to have 3, 4, 5 cars, but since that happened, I'm selling. Mm-hmm. I'm liquid. And I was down to just a convertible Corvette. So I asked my boy, I was like, hey man, I'm finna put the vet in the shop. Let me use your car while you in Texas. And he didn't say nothing. And I was like, okay. And this guy, I let him use any of my car, his car in the shop. He could drive anything I got. So that hurt me.
Hmm.
So when he left for Texas, I jumped on the phone. I asked my mom, I said, hey, Mom, because I know our family from Texas. My pops, family
Yeah.
from Texas. I remember us visiting. And I said, did we got some people in Texas? She said, yeah, your cousin Barbara's son is living out there. I said, oh, give me his number. Call him. Now, I don't talk on the phone.
Hmm.
And I'm talking to him, and he's like, hey, man, come on out here. Dallas is like the bomb and this and that. I got a place for you, a room for you, come on out. I said, okay. But we ain't talk about what I'm really going for.
Yeah.
He know I've been in business, but I don't think he really know.
I think it's
So
legit
I'm like,
business. Heart
yeah.
between
So
you.
I'm like, I ain't never flew with no work or nothing. So this time I put it in a bag, put some women clothes in there, put the coffee, the orange peels, all of that. Make reservations. John Doe is flying. Go to the airport. I'm paying cash. I think the ticket was $450. And she, oh, cash. Oh, I need your driver's license. Because back then, it wasn't no 911, nothing. You could fly. They don't have to show your driver's license, nothing.
TCA.
Right? So, yeah. So, but because I was paying cash, now she want my driver's license. Right? I should have bought the ticket at a ticket agency somewhere.
Yeah. Travel.
In a different names. And I said, oh, no, I'm going to Dallas to get my attaché case. My driver's license is in there. She's like, oh, no problem. We just got to x-ray your bag. I go, oh, no problem. Go ahead. My heart is about to jump out my chest.
Mm-hmm.
When I leave, she on the walkie-talkie calling security. I'm like, oh, I'm out of here, right? Then I thought about it. I was like, man, that's all I got. That's everything. I said, no, I'm going to take a chance. Went upstairs, had me a drink at the gate, make it there. My cousin finally come. He super late call. Like, where is he? It's like 2, 3 in the morning. The airport is empty. I've been there 45 minutes an hour. He lost. He don't even know where the airport is. Anyway, he show up. I see him, big black guy with a big beard, with a pipe. I go, God, please don't let this be my cousin.
It was.
It was. I was like, oh, this square guy. Oh my God. So we get in the car, we driving. And I gotta tell him what I got in the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
I said, man, I got a half a chicken in the trunk, man. He go, what? I go, yeah. I got to have a bird in the trunk. He said, okay, we're going to South Dallas. I said, okay, cool. We get to South. Yeah, we get to South Dallas. Like I said, it's 1, 2 in the morning. This dude's hanging out. They got tank tops on. It looked like Gangbanger Central.
Mm-hmm.
Raggedy house. He go in. He in there a long time. He come out. Now, I gave him a piece of Peruvian flake. This stuff looked like diamonds. I just broke it off the half a chicken, gave it to him. It looked like diamonds. It's so pure. He come out. He go, oh, no, they don't want that. I go, what? Man, this Peruvian flake, blah, 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 going on. He said, no, they want it hard. Oh, okay. I can do that. So the next day, he hooked me up with this other guy. And I said, man, how much you paying for the zones? And he said, I'm paying $1,600. I said, man, I'm going to give them to you for 14. He said, bring me one every hour.
Every hour?
Every hour. Now, he was in a spot, dog. It was a apartment building, like vacant apartment building. They in a unit, got the power running to that one unit from the electrical pole. When you go in there, man, it's just a table, chairs. They chopping up rocks of cocaine on the table. It was crazy. And yeah, every hour, man, he bought everything I had, all of them, and I was back, just like that. Is that crazy?
Wow. Now
So that was Texas.
Now you moved to Dallas? You stay in Dallas or you?
Oh yeah, I got an apartment, brought a whole crew out there, blew up. But I still have my house. I still from LA.
Yeah, yeah.
But LA was my, central location. But I opened up shop in Texas, man. Was there for some years. But I had met a guy. I met a guy out there, right, that I was dealing with. And he had called me one day and was like, man, can you give it to me for this price? I was like, no, man, that's like LA. I ain't making no money. And he was like, well, I'm going to New York. I was like, okay. I said, man, if you go to, man, call me when you get back. I just wanted to see if he go be successful,
Yeah.
And you got to have some cojones to do that.
Mhm.
Well, he did go and came back and he had scored and everything, but he had some drama on the way. But anyway, that gave me I trust, I like dude. About a year or so later, he calls me. He's in Alaska. He said, man, it's cracking out here. I was like, what? Alaska? And he said, man, they got the baddest weed you ever smoked. Now, this dude don't even smoke weed. I'm from California, Humboldt County. You understand? We got the best stuff. And this dude telling me they got, so I tell you, I'm on my way. I go out there.
Alaska, you like transcontinental.
Yeah, man, I'm a chance taker. I'm a risk taker.
Woo.
Dog, eventually we were cutting up $100,000 on one key. That's how much I was making $100,000 a month out there.
Wow.
Back then. Now you gotta remember, see, $100,000 a month in the 80s is like 500,000, or you know what I mean? It's much more.
Oh yeah, way more.
Yeah, in today's money. And man, I was cleaning up, man. And then I was planning on getting out. Now that I was cleaning up, I went to some friends of mine was in Hawaii, so it's a connection. Alaska is called the Triangle. Alaska, Seattle, Hawaii. Okay. I had some homies in Seattle, so I went to Seattle, opened up shop. I tried Hawaii, but them dudes over there is crazy. Hey man, the island people, I ain't gonna say all because I haven't met all, but the people I met over there, the natives from over there that was in the game, they have small minds. Just like that island, that perimeter, that's just how big they thinking is. It was crazy. They tried to rob me out there. They tried to jack me, man. I mean, they had ordered some stuff, went over there, and it's like, this is it, Mossberg, knife, I was like, the fat guy went from this jolly fat guy to an evil spirit, it was crazy. But anyway, I get away. I had to end up calling the police because they take my car, everything. When the police come, I get in the car. They drive their own cars in Hawaii because there's no parking.
Yeah. I'm
in the car. The radio is on. I hear the story. A tourist gets carjacked. They're talking about me. Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
So that was a whole situation. I end up getting out of that. I left there, but that was crazy. And so now I'm planning on getting out the game. I'm setting up people in Alaska to where I could just leave it and just get paid. Setting up people in Seattle, same thing. And the feds are following me. I'm with my cousin and my brother, and we drive and they smoking weed. I said, man, we being followed. They look around, they don't see no police cars or nothing because they was in undercover cars. Mm-hmm. And they laughing at me like, you paranoid. Mm-hmm. It was 3 cars following me. I get to the 605 and the 60, and I act like I'm gonna get on the 605. Couple of cars, one car went ahead of me, went north, another car went south, and I bounced back in the lane, lost all of them. So now they were like, yeah, you was tripping. Get off the freeway. And I said, I'm just gonna get off the freeway and take the streets, take Valley. Mm-hmm. And I'm rolling down. But before I get home, all 3 of them cars are back.
Wow.
And they realized that I wasn't joking. Mm-hmm. So I went to Alaska. They came and got me. Me and another female that I was with arrested me. 10 days later, okay, I'm about to get bail because I was going to pay this girl to have her mother out in Alaska. You just got to have a third party. Mm-hmm. So I pay this girl, have her mom come to court, and they saying stuff. Now in LA, I did get caught with a gun a few times, but back then it was a misdemeanor. You get caught with a gun, you pay a $50 fine, you can go home. It was crazy. Yeah. So anyway, they telling them about all of this stuff. And she's like, no problem. So it looked like I'm gonna get bail. Go leave, the judge gonna make his decision the next day, So they waking me up at 5 a.m. in Alaska. They don't have a federal facility like MDC, like in LA and other places. You stay at the county jail. Okay. So I'm in the county jail. They come get me at 5 a.m. to go to court like they do the rest of the county people. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm federal. I'm going to federal court. The marshals come get me. So anyway, I get to jail. It's early in the morning. We all chained together. We go out to sit in the jury box. The media is all in the courtroom. I don't know what they there for. They finally call my name and I hear the camera shooting, but I don't look. And I say not guilty to some trumped up charges. Now it's early in the morning. So after that, we go back and we in the holding tank all day till 4 or 5 o'clock when they're going to take us back to jail. So they take us back to jail. When I get back to jail, 2 or 3 sergeants is waiting at the bus. I get off the bus, the sergeant go, hey, it's some media here want to talk to you. Do you want to talk to? I was like, no, I don't want to talk to nobody. They're like, that's smart. So they take me back to my dorm. It's just me and the sergeant. When I get in the dorm, everybody, when I open the door and I walk in, everybody stops and looks at me. There's about 50 guys in each dorm. They stop and I'm like, what the heck? Because I'm on the news.
You on TV. Yeah.
I'm on TV. Not my picture. They never had my picture. But I'm on the news. They talking about Stacey Harper. They talking about the Medellin cartel. They talking about the Muslim Crips, that I was the leader of the Muslim Crips. I was making $30 million a month. I was going all these places. If I went somewhere, they said I went there to sell. You know, I might have went to see somebody. That was on a map saying that I was dealing in all these places. That I was the connection to the gangs and the Medellin cartel. All lies. They showing tables full of money, tables full of cocaine, gangbangers getting arrested on the streets of LA. All look like this just happened. They got no money. They got some product, but not no tables fulls of cocaine. You know? Wow. But that was so I wouldn't get bail.
Gotcha. So
they released that. That was over with. I'm a threat to society, to the whole country. Now let me tell you something about
flight risk and everything. Oh my God.
Everything. So let me tell you, man, I was reformed just going through the process, because it was the first time I went through the real process. I was really reformed then, man, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna tell you, huh?
How long were you end up being in there?
So I was sentenced to 195 months. That's like 16 plus years. Yeah. It's crazy how you got to do the math when they give you the kind of sentences, right? Yeah. So, but I only did 9 because once I got in, I'm fighting. I'm in the law library. You know, I found out that my lawyer didn't really know what he was talking about. He just didn't know that one conspiracy is one conspiracy. Not that I'm gonna get charged in Texas, Hawaii, Seattle, and get a sentence there. Like, that's what he told me. I don't think he knew.
Gotcha.
But anyway, so I get to 16. I end up fighting it. But while I was in prison, my first year in prison, I learned from some OGs, you know, man, program leaders, let the streets go, you know, stay busy. I'm educating my mind because I came to a decision. Because when I was in Cook Inlet in Alaska, I'm sitting there watching the Sally Jesse Raphael show. And man, I got an epiphany. I'm watching it. It's this family on there and the husband. And they talking about the wife, how she was strung out on cocaine, on rocks. And man, I'm watching it. And it hit me that I was a part of that. I contributed to it, even though like I was on a higher level. I mean, I made all kinds of excuses. Yeah. You know, somebody's going to do it. I don't really deal with the customer. But no, at that point, I came to the realization that I was a part of that. I contributed to my own demise of my own community. And man, after that, I made a conscious decision that I was going to give back. I was going to dedicate my life to giving back. First, I was going to educate my mind. I was going to become educated. I was going to read, because I was like, man, I'm going to learn a new word every day. Yeah. I'm going to learn some new stuff every day. And I did, you know, and I did. You know, like I said, when I was in Sheridan my first year, a guy came, hey, Stace, hey man, when you go home? And I told him it was like 2016 or something. He was like, man, that's a Buck Rogers day. He said, man, you walking around here like you going home next week. That's how I was programmed and I was
Yeah,
getting
you were
ready.
good, but now you were outside even though you were in. You were living.
Exactly.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I was in that law library, man. I was fighting, man. And I end up I got transferred to Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And Phoenix, I met this African guy, man. This brother was, we was playing ping pong. I was good at ping pong. And them Africans and them Asians, they could play that ping pong. So I
Mm-hmm.
learned a lot from him. And he was good in the law work. So he helped me.
Okay.
He helped me get my paperwork together
Mm-hmm.
and file my brief. I filed for ineffective assistance of counsel. There was a case out about the gun that was at the location where I got. So I got an extra 5 for the gun, plus
Mm-hmm.
the conspiracy. But what happened was there was a case where a brother, because this is what happened with the court. They arrest you, they gaffle all your property, they confiscate all your property, and your property goes to court and gets convicted and confiscated by the government. Now, if that happens before you get convicted and sentenced, that's double jeopardy.
Because you can't be charged for the same crime the second time, or the crime.
Exactly. And if you charge it, it was happening, and people were winning in the state level or not the appellate level, but the lower level courts. They were winning that, even though the prosecutor, of course, was appealing, and it ended up going to the Supreme Court. But anyway, I got that in there because they did me like that. Took all my stuff, prior sentence. I got all this. I was, oh, my timing was right. I was like so happy. So I got the gun, which is some case law that I can win. The double jeopardy is case law. I can win. The ineffective assistance of counsel is a stretch. If you win that, you're lucky.
Yeah.
But I got those 3 things in, and they look good. I get a letter from the prosecutor saying that if I don't withdraw my appeal, like how I got busted is the guy I was buying from told on me.
Gotcha. Okay.
Nobody I sold to, nobody got arrested or anything beside me and my brother.
Okay.
Nobody we sell to or anything, but I'm this big person. I'm this person that they put on the news, but y'all only got me and my brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I ain't talking. Because when they took me in there, they was like, hey, you just sent $400,000 to your mother and sister. They going to jail, if you don't help us. Because we know you ain't been dealing with Ramos for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, well, mom and them going to jail. Because I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, that prosecutor went crazy, man. He's like, you're never getting out. We got you hand to hand 250 grams of crack cocaine. And I walked out there. I was like, man, I ain't sold no crack cocaine in so long. And I you know what I mean? But what they had was the guy I was buying from had called me one day, 2 years prior to this happening, and wanted me to cook something for him. I wasn't doing no cooking no more or anything. And I went over there and cooked up 250 grams that he had a sale for. That was the feds, because the feds, he wasn't that big of a guy.
Gotcha.
But to make the sentence long for him, give me 250 grams. And back then that was times 100. That's 25 keys.
Gotcha.
That my sentence, my crime was cooking that 250 grams.
Gotcha.
They gave me 16 years for that. Never been in trouble before.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
Yeah. So you spend the night in there, you get out, and how are you helping? I mean, what are you doing now? I mean, how's it all transpired since? Yeah.
So I go back, I get some time reduction. I start planning. I make a 5-year plan when I get out. I want to have a house, a business, nice car, and I want to be doing things that meet my values. That's how my real freedom. So, man, all of it happened in 1 year. In 1 year, I was back in Woodland Hills with a swimming pool, nice vehicle, got my kids to live with me in a legitimate business.
What was that business?
It was alarm systems.
Okay.
I was selling ADT alarms. And so I get home, and this is a crazy story in and of itself, because I'm in I get home to the halfway house. My buddies who I had did time with was running an ADT distribution where they sell the paper. They sell the alarms, the company install it and everything, but they selling the paper. They going out getting these contracts from the customers.
Mm-hmm.
So I get with them. They know my business acumen. They bring me in and like, come on, stay as soon as I get home, bring me in. But they in trouble. They in trouble because they've been lazy. They out partying and whatever.
Yeah.
So the rent, I get with the rent guys. First, I say, how much money y'all got? They tell me. I get with the rent people, the employees, everybody, make a deal. When it came time to give me that money, he had bought a laptop or something. So I was like, oh man, and now I'm in the halfway. I can't leave unless I have a job. So I called my brother. My brother got Platinum Vault Entertainment. He rent houses in Malibu, whatever, give parties. Back then, that was cracking.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to his office on Wilshire. I'm trying to find this one guy who knows the whole alarm thing, because they didn't hook me up with the paper guy. I know where to take the paper to get the money, but I ain't never sold nothing.
You never seen it. Got it. Okay.
Right, I ain't sold nothing, but I know the whole business. And I know the guy who know how to sell. A young guy, I'm trying to catch him. We making appointments. I can't never catch him. So one Friday, it's decision time. I'm running out of money. My brother then gave me a Suburban that I got to pay for, plus I'm paying the halfway house.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm running out of money. I done ran out of money. So I tell my cousin after Juma prayer, I said, man, I need to borrow some money. I said, after today, I'm going to meet this guy today. It was Friday. I'm going to meet this guy. This is it. If he ain't there, I got to find something else to do. The alarms ain't going to be working for me.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin loaned me the money. I'm headed to the guy's house on my way to the halfway house because I got to be there for me,
Yeah.
So I'm going there. Now, while I'm driving in the neighborhood to go to the guy's spot, it's some Hispanic people knocking on doors. I said, hey, what y'all do? Oh, we selling alarms. Well, how much y'all get on the alarm? They was like, oh, we get $100. I said, I give you $250.
Yeah, see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was like, that's all y'all getting? I give you $250. They what? Give me a number. We exchange number. Go to the guy's house. Of course, he ain't there.
Yeah.
Get to the halfway house. Like, you ain't even supposed to have a cell phone, but I had a cell phone. It's blowing up. I finally get it placed by myself. I answer the phone. He's like, hey, man, you talking to my people? You talking to my guys? I was like, hey, man, I'm sorry. No. What did you tell them?
I'll give you money too.
Yeah. Now, granted, I'm in the halfway house.
Mm-hmm.
I go to my office. So the guy, he's like, where can we meet? I want to talk to you. Let's make a deal. So I was like, Wilshire. But this guy's from South Bay. He don't want to go way to Wilshire. Yeah. So the only thing I knew that people did was meet at Starbucks.
Starbucks supposed to have.
I ain't even had a Starbucks coffee yet.
Oh my God.
So I had a guy meet me at Starbucks. So he meet me at Starbucks and he got a crew of 5 people plus himself. Uh-huh. He want to open up an office in Miami. I will open up you an office in Miami. Whatever you want, I will make it happen for you because I'm not greedy. I'm on a piece of, he know how the game worked, how much we got paid off the paper. Mm-hmm. And I'm offering him like half, way more than anybody else was giving him. I'm gonna make you a partner because like we sell the paper, we get $1,200. The alarm system costs $99. Mm-hmm. The labor is $125. The rest is profit. Yeah. So I offered him half. He agreed. Bro, the next day we go out door knocking. I go with them because I'm trying to learn now. They said I sell my first one. That's $1,200 for me. Or $1,000 after everything is paid because I sold one. Yeah. They sold alarms. Bro, it was like I was back in the game. I was making $5,000, $10,000 a week. I was cleaning up. I bought the house at Woodland Hills. It all came to fruition earlier than I thought. That's why planning.
Yeah, the 5-year plan. So you're planning.
The planning is key, man. And you start making steps. So you make a 5-year plan, and then you decide what you got to get accomplished every year to get to that plan, every month, every week, down to the daily. And you can make it happen.
Oh, I love it. Wow. So now, because we run on time, but what? So get the alarms. You're doing that. Were there any other businesses after that that or you
Oh
just kept
yeah.
with the
So
alarm?
I transitioned. So look, like I told you, I told you I was into technology.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched. Now what's crazy is the internet didn't take off till I got home. I got home like 2004.
So yeah, so
It,
you're right at the beginning of the
I was at the beginning. So uh, the digital cameras was just starting. I watched them just put it out there because I'm buying my equipment for the alarms at the security distribution places. And I start seeing these cameras. I don't know nothing about them. Man, I buy everything. Trained myself on it. They told me what it could do. They said you could see it online. I went and got a Palm Pilot, that first little phone that was,
I got one. I
and
have one.
was at home. Let me see. And it was, and then you out the picture.
Yeah.
But bro, I was one of the first people. Now there was other camera companies that did cameras.
Mhm.
They were big. They only sold to airports, and you had to
Yeah.
have a zillion dollars to get cameras. I'm one of the first. I'm not the first, but I'm one of the first people, not just black, but first people to sell to anybody. You got 3,000, you can get this. I don't care where you. I started out serving smoke shops. I was selling to all the smoke shops, then gas stations. Then my first big job was the Ford dealership on Centinela
Okay.
for 10,000 to put them cameras there. Yeah. And from there, man, it was on. I was just out of control. I built that company, Platinum Vault. It was
Mhm.
once Platinum Vault Entertainment, became Platinum Vault Inc., Platinum Vault Security. I built it up to $1 million a year company. I was doing prisons. I was in the prison putting cameras in California.
What? Oh my gosh. Oh
Yeah,
my.
man.
So
Then
you
I moved out here to Phoenix.
okay.
Yeah, I had, because I made a lot of money out there. I sold my house, came out here, man, bought a house, swimming pool, and bought a behavioral health business. Now I got two.
And still going. Because you
Yeah, I'm
just
still going.
it's just who you are. Oh
It's
my
just
God.
who I am, man.
I
If I
love
touch it, it turned to gold.
man. It's so cool to just see. I mean, because what I'm gleaning from it is if you get and you learn and you pay attention, you can do anything. And even though
Anything.
you learned it in an illegal business, it translates because business is business, right?
Business is business. Supply and demand. Making customers happy. It's all business.
What I'd
It's
love to
all
do,
business.
if you're willing, maybe in a few weeks or a month or so, we'll come back and just kind of talk about maybe we can just have a show about some of the business practices that you put together, like the things like from beginning to end, like, okay, this is how you set up sales. This is how you set up, by employees. The things that you talked about, I'm not being greedy, right? So many people who make a ton of money aren't the ones trying to get all the money back to themselves. Like, I don't need 90% commission. I need
Right.
50. I need partners. I need people that I can trust. I need people. And maybe we can just go through, like, let's say, hey, the top 10 things that a businessman should do if they want to scale their business. Instead
Absolutely.
of, I think I'd love to do that because you obviously know it. You've done it, and you've done it in more than just one industry, right? You've done
Yeah.
it whether it's carpet cleaning or whether it's security or cameras, whatever it is. You figured out the formula for doing it. Maybe we can talk about what that would be and some of the
Absolutely.
fun stuff.
So I wrote two other books.
Okay, what are those?
One, From the Streets to Success,
Okay,
and the other one is How to Start and Launch a Business.
woo, there it is.
There it is. So when you said that, I was like, you right on time, because a lot of people have the idea. See, because what I want to do, I want to be a coach, a business coach.
Mhm.
I want to take your idea. You just got an idea, and I'm gonna make it reality. All the
Love
way to launching it. See, some people they got that idea, but they don't have the fortitude or the stick to itiveness, is what I like to call it, to
I
go
love
all the way to the end. Me, if I start something, I finish it. You understand? And you got to know when to walk away. See, a lot of people don't know when to walk away. And like, if you get in business, always have a way out. You know, whether it's sale or, you know, how you going to liquidate, you got to always keep that in the back of your mind. Don't become a slave to your business.
Oh my God, it's so good. So good. So how do they get their website you have right now that they can go get the book? Just Amazon? How does somebody go get what you have right now?
The book, The Cocaine Chef, is on Amazon, and it's on my website, stacey-harper.com.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm gonna be doing coaching. I got the Streets to Success, and I'm giving away stuff. Like, if you get the book from my website, I give you the Streets to Success for free. I'm always offering something.
I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Well, Stacey, thank you so much for being on. We're going to come back. We're going to do a special show just for you guys. We're going to start, you know, whatever the coaching things we need to do to get people connected with you, because what an amazing story. But more importantly, if success leaves clues and secrets of doing it, this is a person that you're going to, you know, he's out of the game of you trying to go do something illegal, but he's doing it all legal now. And he understands how to do it. And so thank you for being on the show. Thank you for your willingness to take your time, be vulnerable, because I know, you know, that story is, you know, some people don't want to tell that story. Some people say, no, I'll just tell you about the good stuff, but then leave out all the stuff that got you to where you're at. And I just so appreciate your willingness to do that. Go and get his books. Go to his website. That's stacey.harper.com. Not Stacey Harper.com, right? And so go there, check out the books. I'm sure you will love them. If you are looking for other shows, as we do, we have content that is helping people out. So hit subscribe, hit notification, you know, hit all the YouTube stuff that folks do, so that you make sure you're getting the latest episode of the things that we're doing on this show. And so we will look forward to talking to you. I believe you're God's greatest gift. He loves you if you allow him to. And we will talk to you on the next one. You guys have an amazing day. Thank you. Thank you, Stacey. We'll talk to you guys soon.